are live.
Look at this for a start, everybody. A beautiful baby elephant. Welcome everybody to our afternoon live sunset safari. My name is Byron, and on camera this afternoon is David. We have my colleague James and Brian on the other vehicle, the ladies Kirsten and Chelsea in the FC this afternoon. They are going to be sending us your questions. Don't forget, we're on a live safari. It's great to have you with us. We are situated in the Djuma Game Reserve, which is in the Greater Kruger National Park. Please don't forget to send us your questions via Twitter at #SafariLive or email us on questions@WildEarth.TV. This beautiful herd of elephant at the moment. It's a wonderful, wonderful winter's afternoon. It's about 24 degrees Celsius or 75 degrees Fahrenheit. So a really, really warm afternoon. And we've headed out, and the first thing we bumped into was this herd of elephant, not far from the camp. And they've been standing here for about 20 minutes, completely relaxed, happily feeding, and this young elephant has been entertaining us, learning to use its trunk, it looks like. It keeps trying to pick off the leaves off that very sharp acacia tree, the thorn tree that it is standing in front of. We had a really wonderful morning with a lot of activity. We had a leopard with cubs, we had lions on a buffalo kill, we had cheetah, an elephant. Everything was happening, and it was all going well for us this morning. A lot of luck. James had most of the luck, but we did get to see the female leopard with the two cubs, which was great because it was the first time I had seen them. Excuse me, this is such a great start. I just love elephants. I love spending time with them. And to get them so relaxed and feeding and walking around us, it's just incredible. Hope you are all having a wonderful day wherever you are around the world. Or if you have just started your day, I hope it is a great one. And hopefully you get to join us and send us questions and spend some time with us on our safari. And just a reminder, this is live. That's right. Everything we are seeing, you are seeing as we see it. Oh, look at this young one playing in front of us. Busy throwing the branch and twisting it around its trunk. Really is great to see this young elephant playing and learn. That is really great. It takes them about 2 years before they really learn how to use their trunks properly. At least 2 years, 2 to 3 years. There are thousands of muscles within that trunk, and it is an incredible tool that the elephant have. They break trees, they break branches, they use it to suck up water and pour it into their mouth so that they can drink. It has a lot of uses. There's a big female just behind that little one. I'm assuming that that is the matriarch. You can hear her breaking those branches. So Ashley has asked us a question regarding the dry season that we are having at the moment. We have had a very dry year in southern Africa, not as much rainfall as we usually get, and Ashley would like to know what measures are taken to try and control the drought or control the animal populations because of the drought. And she would like to know, are there restrictions on water holes or is there culling? Ashley, at the moment, no, there's no culling. We try not to cull animals unless it is really, really necessary, especially within the greater Kruger. There is a natural balance at the moment. So these habitats basically control themselves, the animal populations and so on. And it has been going for a very long time. That is why, these areas, Kruger Park, for example, has been going since the early 1900s. Early 1900s, late 1800s. So it's been going for a very long time. In those early years, there was hunting, though, but that very soon stopped, and the animals flourished within their natural habitat. At the moment, though, there are certain water holes throughout the game reserve that people that manage the land, manage the areas, do pump water from boreholes into certain areas to make sure that there is water around for animals. But some of the rivers, most of the rivers actually still have water in them, and they will hopefully still carry some water through the dry season. But as we move into July, August, it will get a lot drier. So I do think we have a bit of a drought heading our way, but animals adapt to the surroundings and the conditions that they are in. They will still manage to find water, so I think they should be okay. But as I said, there are water holes that do pump water to them for the animals. As long as there's food around, they should be okay. But drought is inevitable. It's nature's way, I think, of balancing things out. And for us out here, we have to view and appreciate nature. Sometimes it is hard, and you do see animals struggling in drought, but it's natural selection. And that is one of the things about being out here, is that we try not to interfere. Even though there are water holes that we pump water to, that is needed at times, but generally people try not to interfere. True conservationists try not to interfere. So we're going to sit with this elephant for a bit longer. We don't really have a choice. They're in the road at the moment. But while we do that, let's cross over to James and let him welcome you to our afternoon drive.
Good afternoon, everybody, and a very warm welcome to the afternoon drive. I was trying to think of the date, but I can't for the life of me think of it. Brian? 29th of June. Wonderful to have you with us on this Wednesday afternoon. It is a beautiful afternoon. It is 24 degrees Celsius, 76 degrees Fahrenheit. Brian is on camera. He's got a t-shirt on, no jacket, and a beautiful thumb. What is the thumb today?
Existential dread thumb.
An existential dread thumb. How wonderful for a Wednesday afternoon. In the final control, you've probably heard we have Kirsten McLennan-Smith, helped by Chelsea Byrne. But we're not alone, sitting where we are here. Oh no. Look over there. Just coming down the main trunk of that tree, you might be able to see a little leopard. Isn't that cool? We've just driven up here. We stopped the car because Brian said they were around here somewhere today, looked to the left, and there they were. Now, in theory, we can't be viewing these cubs. We can't kind of follow them if Mum isn't here. They're both in this tree, by the way. I can see them both. One in the fork, the one you're looking at, and then that's the one that, yeah. So you got both. I don't know where Mum is. I suspect she's off hunting still. She may have killed something. She also seems to like a bit of downtime away from them now and again. Anyway, what we can do, I'm not going to drive off-road for them because Mum isn't here. There's nothing wrong with us stopping on the road, though, and we are on the road, so we're just going to ease forward and have a look at them. They're both obviously very comfortable up in the tree there. Mum might be nearby, I haven't seen her. And I am again interested by the fact that these cubbies seem to be not that keen on each other. They don't spend any time actually playing like lion cubs might. You've got the shot there, Brian. Yep. And so the lion cubs that we've seen so often play with each other, and leopard cubs do. I don't have a vast experience of leopard cubs, but I have seen sufficient in my time to know that they do sometimes play with each other. But these chaps don't do a great deal of playing. They seem to be, the play behaviour that happens seems to happen with their mum. And I think that's quite interesting. That's Charlotte we're looking at, with the brown eyes. And somebody said to me yesterday that they thought she also had a wow across the front of her forehead like her mum. I don't see that myself, but I can sort of see the W. Seldom do they get anything like the size over here, because the elephants normally mangle them to pieces. And you can see it's almost an evergreen, but not quite. Alright, we're going to sit here for a little while. I don't think these cubs are going anywhere. Let's head across to Byron and a very sweet little baby pachyderm.
Geez, James has been so lucky today. We saw Karula this morning. I told him where to go and have a look. We did lose her through walking through a block. Look at this elephant lying down. Look at this baby right there. Oh my word, that is amazing. It's fantastic. What a start. James with the leopard and the cubs. We've got this incredible elephant sighting. His elephant lying down. It is amazing. Look at that. And this female is so close to us. Really, really incredible. But look at that little calf lying down. Trying to get some images. Maybe put it up on Twitter for everybody later. Instagram and Facebook for all the Safari Live viewers to see. Those who might be missing the show right now. That little one is so cute. Very, very cute. This is an incredible sighting. Just shows you don't often get to see them lying down, but they will rest. Looks like it's sleeping, but it's just resting. It's just lying down, resting a little bit. The female is right next to it, so it's feeling very, very safe and secure. And we've been sitting here quietly for a while, so we're not disturbing them. I haven't moved the vehicle at all. I've just sat quietly. David and I have just sat here. The female's actually moved closer to us. That calf has felt completely comfortable to lie down. This is an incredible sighting, so special that they feel comfortable enough to do this. Looks like that female is also resting a little bit. Just standing quietly, standing very still. Deborah, armchair traveller, would like to know if the play behavior still continues without the vehicles here, or does it occur more when the vehicles are here? I think definitely when the vehicles aren't around, they probably feel a little bit more comfortable, and you might get more play behavior from the younger elephant. But this behavior that we are seeing at the moment is completely natural. We're not influencing them at all. And I say that because for an elephant to go and lie down and feel so comfortable definitely means that they are not worried about us at all. And it's completely natural behavior. Occasionally you might get younger elephant that become curious with the vehicles. They'll come and sniff around and look at us. But this behavior that we are seeing now, not necessarily being playful, but just resting, is wonderful. See how this female is flapping her ears. Now, that is not an aggressive sign at all. She's purely flapping her ears to cool her body down. So within the ears, and if you look very closely, you might be able to see it. There are a lot of veins. Do you see that? A lot of veins running through the ears, and the ears are very thin. So what happens is, while she's flapping her ears, she cools the blood down, which runs through those veins in the ears. It takes about 9 to 11 minutes for the blood to circulate from those ears through the body, and by her cooling down the blood slightly, it cools down the temperature. There she just sprayed some sand on herself too. That's often done also to cool themselves down or to get rid of some insects that might be sitting on their backs or around them. But that flapping the ears is to cool the blood in the ears down, and that slowly brings the temperature down, not by much, but it does make them, or does help them cool down a little bit in the heat. In summer you'll see them standing flapping those ears constantly because it is much, much warmer. It's a beautiful temperature now. It's not too hot, but it is a lovely warm day. Kim would like to ask, why are the young elephant so wrinkly? So all elephants have wrinkles through the skin, and I've unfortunately never touched an elephant before, but I understand that there's a lot of moisture which is held within the folds of the skin. And obviously these younger elephants still have a lot of growing to do, so the skin grows quite quickly, so that they may grow up to that adult size. But all elephants have wrinkles in the skin. You can see the nails very clearly there too on that young one. Those little toenails, look at that. Very, very interesting. So they've got toenails, but the bottom of the feet are very soft pads, very thick padding. Could you hear that? I don't know if you heard that. The female just gave a very low frequency call, and that, I think, was to communicate to the youngster, right, you've rested enough, you need to get up now, perhaps we're going to start moving. But as soon as she did that, the youngster got up. Very interesting. So while these elephants are breaking branches and pushing trees over, James has got the leopard cubs up in a tree.
I do hope that the elephants don't come and push this tree over, especially not while George and Charlotte, our young royalty, are lurking in its boughs. Now, we moved very slightly, and Charlotte was not in the least bit scandalized, and so we'll just sit here for a little while and enjoy them. I don't think they're going to do a great deal, given the fact that their mother is not around, but that's okay. They're leopard cubs, so they're allowed to be flat cat, as it were. Far more entertaining than watching a lion, say, reclining in the shade. Would you say, Brian?
Mm-hmm.
Much less messy.
And much less smelly.
And far less smelly. And I imagine they'll get bored eventually and they'll start moving around. Don't you think it's interesting that they don't play around with each other? I think that's quite interesting. I'd love to know what you thought about that. Remember, you can talk to us, #SafariLive, questions at WildEarthTV. Send us your impressions. Oh, George is coming. I see George moving towards us. Just a sort of flash of spots in the dappled shade. You see him moving there, Brian? Sent me some wonderful information about something called embryonic diapause. And embryonic diapause is the process by which animals delay the implantation of an embryo in the uterus, possibly due to environmental conditions. Now, we've had many discussions over the last little while about whether or not impala can delay the birth of their offspring. And it's something that we get asked about a lot, and it's something that I just wanted to clear up. Impala cannot delay the birth of their offspring. Once the fetus is implanted, and once it grows up, and once it is, come to term at 7 months, it cannot then be held inside the uterus for a further 2 or 3 months until the rains come. It's just simply not biologically possible. At the same time, there's this incredible thing that I didn't know about, that Judy H. sent me some information on today, called embryonic diapause. And there are a number of animals, the marsupials being a notable example, that are able to create the zygote. The zygote is basically the 4-celled new organism once fertilizations has taken place, and then it becomes an embryo, and it stops at that stage and does not implant in the endometrial wall of the uterus. Then it can be delayed. So that embryo can be held before it's implanted, and it will not develop any further. I guess it's a little bit like, to be a little bit crude, it's a little bit like keeping an in vitro embryo. And so that was fascinating. Thank you, Judy H., for that. But Impala, as far as I'm aware, are unable to do that. They do not predict the environmental conditions that are going to persist when they come to term. And what's given rise to this great legend, of course, that Impala are able to do this, is the fact that there is a second Impala breeding season, and that is in February. And so I think a lot of people have misinterpreted that. Anyway, those young February babies and the November babies better watch out when George and Charlotte get to November. They will then be, what will they be, Brian? Hang on, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 months old. They'll be just about the size that when they're able to take a baby Impala. And if February comes around and they're okay, they'll be a year old. They'll definitely be big enough to take a newborn Impala. And Brian and I were just saying, sort of, not semi-facetiously but in jest, what do you think would happen if we walked to the bottom of the tree and kind of tried to pluck one of them out? And we found it amusing to consider what would happen if, Brian had Charlotte on his lap and I had George on the dashboard. When Karula came knocking about the corner, how she'd react if we were tickling them. And the point of that discussion, of course, is that it's entirely hypothetical, but you would never get that close to these cubs. They are wild. They look very cute. They look very sweet. They look like if you gave them a cuddle, they'd purr on you. They would not. They've got sharp little teeth, vicious little claws, unbelievable strength for the size that they are, and they are wild. So were they to feel threatened, you would know all about it. And on that basis, Brian and I decided that we would not climb up into the tree and fetch the cubs. And many viewers, thank you very much, all of you, for your comments, saying that you also think it's a bit odd that they don't play together. I don't, like I say, I don't have a massive experience of, male and female cubs born to the same female, or, born to one mother and their interactions with each other. But I suspect what it is the fact that they are not social cats, of course. Leopards are not social, and as soon as they hit puberty, they will go off on their own, and they will not want to be around each other. And quite unlike lion cubs, which are social, they are social from the beginning. They play with each other, they growl, they sort of jump all over each other, and those lessons of coordination and play and hunting are meted out, or are played out amongst the siblings. With the leopards, it doesn't seem to be like that. It seems to be much more that they play with their mother. And Trump is a buffoon. You have my vote for the best Twitter handle there is at the moment. Trump is a buffoon. Thank you very much for that. You say that, I think it'll affect their hunting. I don't, because their hunting is largely instinctual, and I also think they'll play with their mother. They'll stalk her, and they'll jump on her and bite her tail and chase her, but seemingly, for some reason, not each other. And it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Maybe they'll start playing with each other. And Charlotte is now looking for George. Now, Betty, not crazy in the slightest, and the answer to your question is we don't know. You say, could it be possible, well, first of all, you preface it with, this might sound crazy, but could it be possible that these leopards have got different fathers? And Betty, we don't know for sure if it is possible. We know that in a number of species it is possible where different litter mates can have different fathers. We don't know if that happens with leopards. We do know that they mate with more than one male per estrus cycle. We don't know if Karula mated with more than just Tingana during the course of her estrus cycle. But Betty, we're hoping that some of that, we've collected a whole lot of dung from many leopards around the Sabi Sands, and that's all being analysed for DNA, and we're hoping very much to find out precisely that, if leopards can have multi-paternity. And I mean, really, I know that I've done it myself, but we've all kind of looked at leopards and said, oh well, he looks like so-and-so must be his father. I don't unfortunately believe that we're able to accurately do that. And so I think only the DNA will tell us. Like when I look at Sindile, for example, I see him, I see his eyes, and I think maybe he's the offspring of Mvula, but I just don't know. All right, let's go across to Byron. He's got a pig to show you.
Yes, that's right. I do have a pig, a warthog. Looks like a small family. There are a few more off to the left that are just hiding behind a thicket, but we can see that one clearly. Look at those big tusks. There come the others. Look like a big female. They did look like a male with them. And then some younger warthogs, some pig, well, I wouldn't say piglets, just young sub-adults that are with that female. The sounder of warthog. That's really beautiful antelope there in Nyala. Another one is following it. It should come through there shortly. There we go. So we have the warthog, the Inyala, and these are all males. It's interesting to see so many Inyala males together, but they look a little younger. I suppose they are adults. I think they've still got 1 or 2 years to grow before they really become dominant males. It's possibly why they are together. And then we also have some kudu in the area. I'm trying to see if the kudu stick their heads out. The kudu and impala. So there's a lot going on here. It's wonderful. Warthog,
how do you like
kudu, impala, a lot of different antelope species. Obviously just a nice area for them to be feeding in the afternoon. I'm going to move forward a little bit for us quickly. There's another Nyala. Hang on, we'll get through the gap here. There it goes. Beautiful antelope. Pal has asked us, do warthogs have a leader in the group? Well, a group of warthogs is usually just the family, so it'll most likely be either the mother or the large male that is with the family, if there is a male there. Generally, with warthog, it will be the female with the piglets in a group, and the males are solitary until they meet up with a group of females. There we go, there's the impala we spoke about, just behind the Nyala, and there's a lot going on through there. But so with the warthog, it's the mother that will lead the youngsters, the piglets, and then the males are generally by themselves until they're looking to mate with the females. Then they'll meet up with the group. They may spend some time with the group at times, but generally it is the female that controls the group of warthog, because they are family. I just want to see if I can find you one of those kudu quickly. There we go, through there, there's the kudu. It's a young male. Look out for any potential predators, and they will warn each other if there is any danger. So it's not unusual to find these antelope in the same area. And also both the Inyala and the kudu are strict browsers, which means they only feed off leaves of trees. There's a female kudu walking through there. So they only feed off leaves of trees. The impala are mixed feeders. They will graze, which means they eat grass, or they browse, which obviously means they eat leaves. It depends on the time of year, and it depends what food is available. So that's probably why all these antelope are in the same area. There must be good browsing for them at the moment around here. Lovely to see so many different animals. Alright, we are going to make our way across towards Cheetah Plains in the east. And while I do that, let's cross back to James and see what those leopard cubs are up to.
We did move very slightly, everybody, but the leopards didn't move at all. Little Charlotte fast asleep. Oh, here comes George. You see George there, Brian? He's now searching at us with his little blue eyes. Hello, boy. Oh, he's so tired. Poor little George. He's so tired. Excuse me, I can't help myself when I see these things. Especially given them wonderful names I've given them, don't you think? I sense that the viewers are semi-tolerant of the names I've given these cubs. Some think they're quite good. Some undoubtedly think that they're utterly ridiculous and should go immediately. And to those I say, don't worry, they will go. They will not be known as George and Charlotte for long. Now, as the other vehicles get mobile, everybody, we're going to have to move out of here, simply because we can't actually establish a proper sighting here because Mum isn't around. Once they're about 6 months old, we'll view them on their own, without Mum. But I'm prepared to view them here. You can see we're having absolutely no effect on them whatsoever. They're fast asleep, and they're next to the road, and we're not bashing around next to them. And there aren't other vehicles coming in and out, so I'm prepared to view them here. But we obviously come out earlier than everyone else does, and so we'll spend a little bit of time with them, and I think everyone's going to start getting mobile in about 10 minutes or so, and then we're just going to move out of here and carry on and see if we can find Karula, perhaps heading back to fetch them so that she might feed them again on something. And as I say that, people are starting to get mobile. Kevin, you want to know how far Mum will travel? Well, you know, she's travelled. Last time she left them, and it wasn't to go hunting. Where were they left? They were left somewhere around, yes, I remember exactly now. They were left somewhere around Treehouse Dam, which is about 300 metres to the south of us, so about 900 feet or so, maybe 1,000 feet. And she then went all the way north into Buffelshoek, Hook, which is probably a good, 4 kilometers as the crow flies, so a round trip of about 8 k's, 5 miles. So that was quite a big one, and I think she went off and did a bit of hunting and a bit of territory marking, because her territory, of course, has been neglected while they've been very little. Now she's starting to range a bit further and further away, so that she doesn't have to, because they're able to climb trees and look after themselves a little bit better now. You can see that they're completely relaxed in the tree, totally safe up there. So she could range a long way from here. She could easily range onto Torchwood, kill there, and then come back and get them. Hello Cheetah in India. Lovely to hear from you all the way from India. That really is lovely to hear from you, and I hope that you keep watching and keep talking to us. Cheetah, you want to know what role the father plays, and I love this question, and it comes from all sorts of human cultures where we know that our dads play an enormous role in mentoring and looking after young human beings, and so we often ask about the role of mammal fathers in the lives of their youngsters. Unfortunately, Tingana, who we think is the father of both of these little chaps, is not going to have any further effect on their lives directly. Indirectly he will, though. He won't interact with them. If he does meet them, he'll probably be fairly offhand about it. I don't think he'll be very affectionate to them, but he won't harm them. But his indirect parenting effect is to protect the territory that he is in, and therefore that their mother is in, from other male leopards. Other male leopards, of course, are a major killer. Unrelated male leopards are a major killer of little cubs, and so that's what's going to happen. Okay, we're going to have to head out of here now because everyone's starting to get mobile, and we'll hopefully come back here following Karula shortly. Okay, wasn't that wonderful? They might just lift their heads as we pull out. Alrighty, let's get out of here. I'm just... the radio is unbelievable how many people are talking there. Okay, let's go and see. Now, Karula went wandering down here at some stage, and so she'll come probably, I mean, wherever she kills from, she'll take a direct route straight back towards here. Ooh, now, what we're going to do is go towards Buffelshoek Dam via the route that Karula went. I've just heard on the radio that there were tracks of baby lions in that area, so maybe we'll be very lucky there. Wouldn't that be nice? Lion cubs and leopard cubs in one drive? I think that'd be awesome. Hello Earl in Tampa. I'll get back to you right now. Stations 2, Wild Earth vehicles are mobile. One had a herd of elephants around Weird Taylor Dam. I went to check for Karula, she's not on site. Cubs are in a albizia tree, but Mum is not there, so I left. And yeah, we're driving Ingwe Alley, we'll go Twin Dams from here. So, Earl in Tampa, you are interested in how far we drive. Earl, we drive, it depends. So, I mean, the other day, for example, we had the cubs just next to camp. We probably drove less than a mile in the whole drive. And then this morning, I went off to Cheetah Plains, like Byron's doing now, and he will probably drive, he'll probably drive a good, say, 20 kilometers or so, so roughly 12 miles, maybe a bit more than that, depending on what's at Cheetah Plains. So the more we see, the less we seem to drive, because obviously you stop and you look at the animals and we have a conversation about them, and the less we see, the more we're looking for things, and therefore the longer it is that we're going to be driving along. So anywhere from 1 mile to, I'd say, about 15 or 16 on a very kind of lengthy drive. Now we must just keep an eye out on all these trees, keep an eye out under all the bushes for Karula, and while if she does kill, she will certainly come back to fetch the cubs. She does take time out. I've noticed that too. Oop, there goes my microphone. Hang on a second, I'm going to have to fix this. Brian, get the camera away from my bald spot. People will be blinded. Thank you, that is very kind of you. There are many cameramen who would very happily. Please excuse the scraping and scratching, everybody. I'm sure it sounds dreadful. Oh, very irritating. I'm so sorry. Okay, I think we're done. There we are. Right, there we are. Okay. Let's try and keep it taped in. I might have to tape it to my head. It's going to be very nice. The reason it's in my hat, everyone, and not on my lapel, is that now when I talk like this, my voice does not change in volume. Do you see? And when I put my scarf on, you don't hear ruffling and shaking. All you hear is it gently scraping against my balding head. It's a nice thought for the afternoon. It is yet another beautiful afternoon. It was a misty, eerie morning today, and it's cleared up into a wonderfully blue, clear afternoon. So we're going to head towards Buffelshoek Dam, and because it's been quite warm, maybe there'll be some elephants or some buffalo wandering down that way. Maybe the hippopotamus, and maybe some little lion cubs. That is a real hope, though. It's a shot in the dark. Hello, Len. You're in Canada. Nice to have you with us. What was that? Len, you say when is the best time to come on safari? Len, there isn't a best time. There are many very good times, and I always sort of split this answer into four. The first one is to say that sort of the rainy season months, November, January, February, very hot, very green, verdant, beautiful landscape. You can get rained on, but it's lovely to have an African thunderstorm while you're out here. All the baby animals are around, so it's a really kind of verdant, life-filled time. March, April, May, as we go into kind of the autumn, well, it's still as green, there's less rain, it's not quite as hot, so that's quite nice. The little animals have grown up, of course, and so it's not quite as doesn't give you the same sort of spring feeling as it might otherwise. So that's that time. Then we get this time we're in now, June, July, August, and that's the kind of winter months when it's quite cold in the mornings, but not too bad at all, especially if you're from Canada. You'll think it's positively balmy most of the time. And viewing is good. The leaves are starting to fall off the trees, everything's starting to get very dry, and so the animals are concentrating around the water holes. It's not quite as dry as it's going to be, though, into the next months, the kind of spring months of September, at least August, September, October. That's a real dry season, and the game viewing is spectacular because the leaves on the trees have all fallen off. So there's not a great deal of foliage around the place. The water is very concentrated, so big herds of animals head towards the water holes, and it can be a little bit harsh that time of the year if you're not used to it. So if you're used to kind of verdant green boreal forests of Canada in the summertime, and then I know it's very snowy there in the winter time, but if you're not used to the dry and the colors are grey and gold and a little bit of copper and red, and it can be harsh, but if you're used to it, it's just really beautiful. So those are the times of the year, and each one is nice. Each one's got its advantages and disadvantages, so really there's no best time of the year to come. Thank you for that, Len. Now we're going to go down into the great valley of the Mulwati drainage line. Raging torrent. Hopefully we'll get through. Do you think we will, Brian?
I hope so.
Whew.
It's going to be tough.
It's a tough one getting through the water, even in this car. Here we go, everybody. Hold on tight. You can see the vegetation getting thicker as we get closer to this vast raging torrent, and if you listen carefully, can you hear it, Brian?
Okay.
The rushing of water. Oh, That's scary just to listen to. Yes, big rapids as we approach down here, everyone. Hold on tight, put your weatherproofs on, get your books into the weatherproof bag. We made it, Brian.
We made it.
Oh, thank goodness.
Oh, that was splendid.
It was so exhilarating.
What a rush.
What a rush. I'm not sure where that came from, and I apologize profusely. While Kirsten says we can link to Byron for an update while I lose my mind.
So it sounds like James is losing his mind. I think he's got a little bit of heat stroke actually. He took us out for an afternoon run just before we went out and drive, and I was very silly and I went with him. It's always good to exercise out here, but running in this dry heat, I think all of us regretted it soon afterwards. So perhaps that's why James has lost it a little bit. So we're driving through Cheetah Plains at the moment. No luck just yet, but we are heading towards a waterhole. With it being a lovely warm afternoon, I'm hoping we get something that's come down to drink. We'll be there shortly, I think, because again, this is an area I'm not really familiar with. Oh, there's a bird calling that I'd love to show you. Let me just see. So, Tara, the last time we saw cheetah on the drive was this morning. James found some cheetah. He saw 2 big males, beautiful males, and we're heading towards that area to see if we can't find them this afternoon again. So stay tuned. Hopefully we do get them this afternoon. I'm hoping they haven't moved off too far. I'm trying to see. This bird is calling that I would love to show you. It is called a red-crested coran. And let me just see. They're very difficult to spot. They are ground birds. But let me just see. Okay. Now, there is. Let's just see if he calls again. So, let me show you a picture of what this bird looks like first. The red-crested coran. Let me find it quickly for you. Okay, so this is the bird we are looking for. This beautiful red-crested coran. That bird over there. It's got a very high-pitched whistle, but there's a little trick. What was he going to call? No. So there's a little trick that I'd like to think it works. I've done it a few times with this bird. It's not always a guarantee, but occasionally it does work. So they've got a very distinct call. It starts with a clicking sound, click, 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 and then they go off and they do this whistle. Something like that. And this bird then shoots up into the air, straight up, and it does this beautiful display. It stops flapping its wings, and it basically does a somersault. So it rolls back in the air, wings open, and then it floats back down to the ground and uses its wings as a parachute and lands. It is amazing to see. Now, usually when they call and they whistle, they do it. There's a little trick that I've tried in the past. It's worked once or twice. Some guides have different theories on it, but the tapping on the vehicle, a little tap like this. So that occasionally helps to get the birds curious. And I think it's because it sounds similar to that clicking sound that they do in the beginning of their call. It does help if it starts whistling so I know where it is. But we might be lucky and get this bird shooting out of the brush. Let me see. Let's try and knock once or twice. I'm not going to spend too much time here, but let's just see. Okay, there's a whistle. Okay, so just keep watching, keep watching. It's very close, it's very close. It's in the thicket. Okay, it's whistling back, it's whistling back. So we're getting a reaction out of it. Come on, if this works, I am going to be so impressed. There's another, come on. It's not whistling back now. Just wait. It is, I'm sure it's going to work. Come on. It's got to. I think that frame is perfect there, David, because if it shoots out, it might just go straight up. There's a whistle back again. My fingers are getting a little sore now. Just giving it a bit of time. I don't really think it is mating season. It's usually the males that do it to attract a female. Okay, you see what he's done? He's come right out close to us. He's on the ground. Just moving through there. You got him?
Yep.
There we go. There he is. So he's come right out to investigate. Beautiful, but you see how well camouflaged they are. Beautiful red crested coran. Wait, you're going to get a good glimpse. There we go. Look at that. Okay, come on. No, I don't think he's going to do it, but it's wonderful to see. I mean, he came and investigated a little bit, but it doesn't look like he wants to do a display for us, unfortunately. But he did whistle back. I hope you all heard that. Incredible sound. That whistle is a beautiful call. I'm going to try once more. Let's see if we get another whistle. He's not interested in doing it, but beautiful red crested coran that came to see us. Unfortunately, just not interested in doing that full display for us, but he was whistling back. Definitely interested, but I think he saw myself and David and thought, nah, this is not worth displaying for. That is so cool. That is really cool. I'm glad I got to show you that bird, but it's amazing. As we drove past, I heard it, but obviously through this thicket, it's very, very difficult to see. So I'm glad he came out to investigate and see what the knocking was, but we just didn't get him shooting up into the air and doing that display for us. But you never know. He may still do it a little bit later. We're going to continue to the waterhole. David, I think, why don't you just keep fixed on this area, because occasionally if you drive away, it does shoot up into the air. I've seen it happen a few times. Let's just see. No, not interested in displaying for us today. But great to see him, and I'm glad he came and investigated to see what that sound was. But we're obviously just not pretty enough for him. Okay, we're about to get to this water hole. Let's see what's here. Oh, what have we got there? A huge herd of buffalo. Fantastic. Oh, this is great. Very lucky this. Wow, this is a big herd. I can see buffalo extending all the way through the back, but they're right up ahead approaching this waterhole for a drink. So I think we're going to get a lot of activity here now. Oh, beautiful. I'm going to just stop up ahead a little bit so we're not looking into the sun, and we'll get a beautiful view of these buffalo drinking. Wow, some of them are right in the water. And look at that. Just as I thought, a lovely dry or warm, dry afternoon. And animals will come down to drink any time of the day, whenever they're thirsty. There's not a specific time. It doesn't mean only in the morning or only late afternoon. It could be any time. And our timing was just perfect today. We're just lucky with our timing. And this whole herd of buffalo came down to drink. Do you see they're going right into the water? This is great. See, look how far back it extends. Through the bushes off to the right. They're still coming. A herd of buffalo like this is predominantly females and young. There are dominant bulls within a herd, but there are a lot of females. Usually you get the males, the older males, splitting away from these herds. They don't like moving around as much. These herds can cover huge distances looking for food and water. The old males hang around in a certain area where there's food, there's water. They don't have to cover a large distance. But if a herd like this does come through and passes those big old bulls, then those bulls will definitely join the herd for a short period of time to see if there are any females that they may potentially mate with. Then those bulls move off again, and you might find one by himself or in small groups, whether it be 2, 3, 4, up to 8 or 10 sometimes, old bulls that stay together. Oh, there's such beautiful light now too this afternoon, sunlight, the water, beautiful for photography. So I can hear some lapwings, blacksmith lapwings and crowned lapwings in the back, and they're calling quite a lot at the moment. And the reason for that is because as these buffalo have walked through, they've obviously disturbed those lapwings. Those lapwings nest on the ground. I spoke about it the other day, but for those viewers who didn't hear it, I've seen these birds standing their ground with a buffalo and elephant coming straight towards them, and they open their wings and they'll stand and scream at the buffalo and elephant and force them around where their nests are on the ground. It's incredible. I've seen one actually pick a buffalo's nose. The buffalo stood back and quickly moved around. It's incredible to see the birds react like that. So I heard them calling. They're potentially trying to keep buffalo away. They also go and they dive bomb them. They fly around and they try and move these big animals away from their nests or their chicks, so that they don't hurt them, or break the eggs for that matter. Hear the sound of these buffaloes swishing through the water, splashing about. It's the slushing of that water. A wonderful sound, wonderful sound. Liz has just said it's the dinner bell has been rung. Where are the lions? Yeah, imagine a pride of lions walk through here now. Could be very interesting. But I think in the warmth of the afternoon like we have at the moment, lions are possibly resting. We're going to sit with these buffalo a little bit, see what they do, which direction they go. Let's go back to James and see what he is up to.
Everybody, we are eye level with a hippopotamus at Bivelshoek Dam. Oh, good grief. Now he's getting a little bit testy with us, but we're going to keep watching him. And we've parked here, we've gone down into the new part of the dam, which is lower down than the old part, so we're almost at eye level with him. This is a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to look at him. I was going to look at him from the top of the dam, and Brian said, no, let's go down closer. Now that is a warning, there's no question. He's saying to us, not that happy with you being there. If we sit and we're nice and quiet, I think he'll be okay. But I may have to reverse fairly smartly if he starts coming this way. Isn't he impressive? That's just a most amazing view of him. It's going to be quiet. Tobias, you should have a name that is Thomas rather than Tobias. You say, is this really live? Tobias, this is as live as it gets. This is the most real kind of TV you'll ever see in your life. And that hippopotamus is staring at us from about 50 meters away, 40 meters away. That's 140 feet odd. And I was just taking a photograph there. We're going to watch him quite carefully. That snorting is him saying that he's not happy, and many of you, of course, will know that hippopotamus have a reputation for being not particularly friendly. Now that's normally when you're on foot. In a vehicle they're normally okay, but he's definitely just being, they feel threatened. And they feel threatened because they so desperately have to be in water, and this is suboptimal territory for a fellow like this. He would rather be in some much more sort of open flowing water like a permanent river or something like that. And so they need this water. They don't want to be threatened away from the water. And as long as we sit there and just, don't go too close to him, he should be fine. Pallavi, you want to know what indications a hippo gives before it charges. Pallavi, it gives an indication by basically standing up. It'll come, take a few steps towards you, and then it'll just come. I don't think he's going to do that. It's not impossible that he could do that. We should be relatively okay here in the vehicle. It will be an unpleasant experience, no doubt, but we should be all right. I certainly wouldn't be here on foot. So he's showing his displeasure. Now what I'm going to do is not because I think he's going to come towards us. I think we're making him uncomfortable. And I'm just going to reverse the vehicle back up a little bit. We've had an amazing view from here. And I just don't want him to be upset and feel like he has to. Hello Gracie, age 8. I've forgotten about this little story that we had here. There we go. We'll just stop like that for a while. We might sneak down a little bit again and see if he will put up with us. So, just Gracie, before I answer your question, I must tell everybody about Bob, because many people, of course, don't remember that around about this time last year, one hippopotamus arrived at this dam, and we called him Bob, the bachelor of Biffle's Hook. And he was alone, and he stayed there like that for many months. And then, one day, during the height of the dry season, another hippo arrived. We think it was a female, and Gracie called her Princess Daisy. And Princess Daisy disappeared. Now, Gracie, you want to know, do we think that Bob misses Princess Daisy? Yes, I think he probably does, you know, Gracie. Hippos are social animals. They like to be around each other. They don't like to be on their own too much. And he's a young bull, you see. And the only reason he's on his own is because he's young and he's not really big enough to fight for a proper territory down on the rivers. And those rivers, of course, are starting to stop to flow. So the hippos are having to come and live in water like this. It's not nearly deep enough for him. You see that? He can't even get under the water. You see now he's relaxed completely with us further down. Alright, let's go back to the buffalo herd with Byron. We're going to head off around the other side of this waterhole, see if we can't find tracks of those lions and the cubs, and if not, we're going to wind our way slowly back towards where Karula's little cubbies were and see if we don't pick her up on the way back to fetch them. See you shortly.
So have a look at this, everyone. We're still with the buffalo, but I want to show you one of those lapwings. The blacksmith lapwing is on the ground and it is screaming viciously at a buffalo. We just need about 4 buffalo to move to see it. Jen B has just asked us a question about the lapwings and if they would have nests this time of year. So Jen B, I'm not entirely sure. I'm trying to think now. I don't think so. You know, it is quite dry at the moment. There we go. You can see it. See that that lapwing shouting at that buffalo. It's not moving. Look at that. Listen to him. Can you hear that? So, not afraid of a buffalo at all. Standing, shouting, chasing. And see the wings open there? That buffalo is not moving. That lapwing is very upset. Look at that. That is so cool. It's always great if we speak about something that actually happens. Watch. He's probably going to try pick that buffalo on the nose. Peck the buffalo, rather. There we go. Did you see that? That is so cool. Oh. So Lynn has asked us how far these buffalo herds can travel in a day. They can travel huge distances, a few kilometers in fact, Lynn, especially when it's dry and they're looking for water. So anywhere between 5-10 kilometers in a day, very easily. So getting back to the question about the nests, I've just read in my book quickly, just brushing up, they can breed year-round. I thought so, they can, but they do often nest during July through to October. So this is we're almost that time of year. So, but like I say, they can nest year round. So I'm almost certain that that little lapwing has got a nest around there, and that's why it won't move. It's trying to chase those buffalo away, which we got to see, which is incredible. There we go. It's calmed down a little bit. I'm trying to see if I can see a little nest on the ground. They literally, it's just a little shallow hole or dugout that it uses. Not very distinct at all and not easy to see. The eggs are very, very well camouflaged, but that was incredible. Wasn't it fantastic? Something so different. Smallest little animal that we can find around here. This little bird, this lapwing, chasing away a buffalo. Wasn't that great? Well, the buffalo have moved off. I think we are going to do the same. We're going to head towards the plains, and our luck has been really great this afternoon. James had a lot of luck this morning. Maybe it rubbed off a little bit on us. And we are going to look for cheetah. Love to see those cheetah again. Saw them the other day, and James had them this morning. Perhaps we're lucky on the plains we might see some cheetah. While I make my way towards the plains, let's see what James is up to.
Right, we've moved away from the dam, and little Bob, who was very cross with us, but I think he's okay now, he'll be alright. And we're now going to go round and see if we can't pick up those lion tracks, and like I say, if we don't pick them up, we'll head back towards where Karula's cubbies were, and see if she hasn't made her way back there. Probably don't want to hang around too long around here, just in case she does go back. She will probably go back before dark if she's killed. If she hasn't killed, she might spend the night away from them. I don't think that's impossible. She might spend the night trying to kill. It's so interesting though, you know, you'll read in books that these cats are all nocturnal. You'll read that leopards are nocturnal, they don't hunt during the day. Karula hunts in the day all the time, especially since she's had these youngsters. It's almost like she doesn't want them to be alone at night, because obviously that's when they're most vulnerable, and so she hunts during the day, whacks something, or she whacks something early evening and then goes to fetch them in the night, so that they are they're not sort of alone from the beginning of the night, if you know what I mean. And that's quite interesting to me. I think they're getting old enough now, though, for her to be away from them for long enough for her to go and mark territory for the course of an evening. Now, this is where they said the tracks of the lions came. Keith, you want to know about when those little cubbies will be taken on the hunt together. Keith, normally about 8 months, but she doesn't hunt with them in teams. It's not like she they do a little bit of mentoring, but they don't do anything like the mentoring that cheetah do, for example. Cheetah mothers spend a great deal of time teaching their youngsters how to hunt. It's not the same with leopards. They do a little bit of mentoring, and in about 8 months they should be able to accompany her. They'll stay back probably when she kills. They don't kill as a team. But at 8 months, of course, they're starting to make their own kills. I mean, decent sized kills. I mean, even those little things that we've been enjoying of late, I think certainly would have made their own kills of maybe the odd lizard or termite. And termite's a good first kill. It's looking, oh dear, my microphone's coming out again. It's dreadful, dreadfully irritating. It makes me so cross, Brian. I don't know what to do with myself. Oh! Excuse me, everyone. This won't take long. Won't take but a second. There we are. We should be okay now. Marvellous. On we go. No further lion tracks around here. Bree, nice one from you. You said, did I figure out who the lions were this morning who had the buffalo? Bree, I didn't. I don't know who they were. I couldn't begin to tell you. I thought initially they must be the the Styx Pride, but that was kind of, I was dissuaded of that notion by one of the Chitra rangers who said, no, they must be the Talamati Pride. But I think that's a bit of a guess, because I don't think that he's ever seen the Talamati Pride, but he has seen the Styx Pride many times, so probably wasn't them either. So I don't know who they were. I think it's quite interesting. And also, I think that one was definitely going into estrus. For those of you who weren't watching this morning, we had the 3 lionesses on a buffalo kill with 2 Birmingham boys. And when one of them moved off, she was followed by one of the males. And she urinated and he did his little phlegm and grimace. I shall do it for you. Are you ready, Brian?
I'm ready.
More teeth.
There we go.
Really, that's phlegm and grimace. Right. Oh, there's a diker, Brian. Now, there are 2 dikers running through there as fast as their little legs will carry them. As unattractive as that looks on screen to you right now, so a male lion is rendered unattractive by the phlegm and grimace. And the phlegm and grimace, of course, allows him to tell whether she's ready to mate or not, whether she is about to pop into whether she's coming into estrus. And they do that, of course, through pheromones. And it's quite interesting. When we were in the tent during the TV shows we did recently, we had a couple of skulls. And if you get a carnivore skull, I think if you get quite the herbivore skulls as well, just behind the front teeth here, there are holes. There are 2 holes, and they open up into what's called the vemeronasal organ. Is it vemero or verimo? Vemeronasal organ, I think, vomeronasal organ, and that's the organ of Jacobson, and that interprets the pheromones. We don't have that anymore. We've got a vestigial one. We also don't have 2 little holes in the top of our palates that would allow us to interpret pheromones through our organ of Jacobson. I'm quite glad, though, aren't you, Brian? Can you imagine going to a nightclub and finding men walking around in the darkness going... It would be quite disconcerting, don't you think? I'm just struck by the image of people going through, walking into a singles bar going, "Hello, how are you? Very nice to see you." My name's James. Sorry. I better answer Michael's question before I lose my mind completely. Michael, you want to know if the Mapochos ever... Sorry. You want to know if the Mapochos, which were a coalition of male lions, ever had territory here on Djuma? As far as I know, they didn't. As far as I know, the Mapochos, which were replaced eventually by the Majinga lions, had territory sort of Londolozi to the west, and possibly into Arathusa, but I don't think they came all the way up here, everyone. Now, let's just have a quick look at this tree over here. I've just figured out why this is pulling me so badly. Can you still hear me, Rowan? This tree is interesting to look at purely because it is Viam's favourite tree, and there we go. Viam's favourite tree is called a false marula tree. Now, Brian, how many trees do you see here?
I see at least 3.
At least 3. Now, I would say to you that I think that this is one tree that is very ancient. It's been growing out of this termite mound for a very long time, and I suspect even that that could be part of the same tree there, and that it's been broken by elephants so many times, and it's just grown out of the ground from the rootstock, that the rootstock has now spread so far underneath this termite mound that it looks like that there are 3 trees here. And it would be fascinating to do some genetic analysis on the trees and find out if they are in fact the same organism. Quite an impressive organism. It's called a false marula because it's supposed to look like a marula tree. I don't know that it does look particularly like a marula tree, but there you are. It has a wonderful Latin name. It's a Lania schweinfurtii. And if you're ever feeling depressed, or if you're ever feeling angry, Say Schweinfurtii a few times and you'll feel better immediately. I wouldn't combine Schweinfurtii with the phlegm and grimace because
People may take offense.
people will take offense. Alrighty, on we go. Alright, let's go across to Byron. I think he's reached the place of death.
To the east. James, I think, is linking to me shortly. Give it 2 minutes and then you should get an accurate update from him. He was the one who found them this afternoon. Look at this, everybody. Upside down vultures. The reflection of these vultures down at the water. These are hooded vultures. And they've all come down to drink, which is great. You don't often see vultures on the ground. Usually they're perched up in the tree, just like the vultures that we can see off in the distance. If you have a look, there we go. See, they're generally perched up in the trees like that. They prefer the dead trees. The reason for that is there aren't many branches around, so it's easier for these big birds with the large wingspans to land in the trees. Assume that these vultures are in the area because there was a lion kill around here, and James saw it this morning. The lions had killed a buffalo. Don't see any sign of them just yet. We are heading towards the plains to see if we can't find any cheetah. And we bumped into this interesting sighting with the vultures at the waterhole. And it's only the hooded vultures which are on the ground at the moment. The other vultures that were up in the tree are white-backed vultures and some hooded vultures. But these ones are only hooded vultures. This is really, really great. I can't remember the last time I saw vultures on the ground at a waterhole. Often they'll go down and, I mean, if there's a kill, they'll go down definitely to feed. But to go down and just sit at a waterhole and drink, you don't see that often. Again, this afternoon light is just amazing. It really, really is great. Just going to move forward slightly. Just hear a vehicle coming behind us. I don't want to get in the way. Okay, also coming to have a look what's going on the plains. But this is such a lovely, lovely sighting at the moment with all these birds at the waterhole. There are a few doves around, but just to see the vultures down there is incredible. And look at the reflection. It's just so beautiful. Really great for Really great for photography. Hardbeard has just commented on the fact that the vultures seem to be quite ugly. Not very attractive birds, but they do form a vital role in nature. And you're right, Hardbeard, they do. They are a crucial part of cleaning up carcasses and getting rid of dead and decaying meat once the other predators have moved off. So yes, they do play a very vital role in nature. Look at that. Oh. We'll take off. One just ran and took off there. Afternoon, everybody. Hello. All good. Some guests from the other lodges moving through the area. It's always nice to see so many vehicles full of guests, people coming on safari from all over the world. So peaceful out here at the moment. Sometimes it's just nice to sit and listen, or just appreciate what's going on around you. We always try our best to describe it to our viewers, and it's not always that easy. I mean, the warm sun on your back, the beautiful light on the vultures, birds calling in the distance, the fresh air. There's no pollution out here at all. It's a little dry, or not a little, it is dry, so there's dust in the air, but it's still fresh air. Jenny would like to know, is the brown one a young one? Yes, it is. It is indeed a young vulture that hasn't quite got that reddish coloration on the face yet. It is a young hooded vulture. So we would call that an immature bird, or immature vulture. When you have birds and they haven't quite reached their adult plumage yet, they are known as immature. Occasionally people also use the word juvenile, but the correct term is immature. Look, that one's heading down to the water now, just below them. There we go. Oh, look up at the top quickly if we try. Oh, it's a little difficult. Sorry, David, I saw it a bit late there, but just keep watching those on top of the wall. Looked like the one was trying to mate with the other one. Let's keep an eye and see if they do it again. Trying to find an image of these hooded vultures for you and the other white-backed vultures, just to show you what they look like. Just have another vehicle driving past. Just greet these guests. Good afternoon, everybody. Hello, how are you doing? How's Mike? Good, thank you. So, our beard has just asked us a question about the vultures, and do any predators hunt the vultures? And if so, do they taste bad? I do not know of any predators that hunt vultures. And because they're scavengers, but they're large birds too. They're very large, so it's unlikely that you would get another bird of prey hunting them. Just like eagles and that, generally they don't hunt each other. And it's usually the falcons that will hunt other birds.